When I moved into my new place, I was just trying to start over. I won't go into all the details, but let's just say things with an ex got bad enough that staying in my old city wasn't an option anymore. I made some money pretty early in life, and looking back, I definitely made some stupid choices about the kind of women I kept around. Hard lesson learned. The neighborhood I moved into was almost the complete opposite of my old life. Quiet, low crime, mostly families. The houses were spread far apart, which I liked a lot. That's actually one of the reasons I chose the place. But for some reason, the house right next to mine sat way closer than all the others. And that house? Massive. When I first saw it, I figured a huge family lived there. Parents, kids, grandparents, the whole deal. Turns out, I couldn't have been more wrong. Even though I wanted to keep to myself, I didn't want to come off as the rude new guy. So I decided to introduce myself to everyone on the street. For some reason, I saved my next-door neighbor for last. No idea why. Everyone else I met seemed genuinely nice. Probably 90% of them had young kids, and honestly, they were a little intimidating just because of how put together and successful they seemed. I wasn't sure how a single guy in his late 20s was supposed to fit in there, but that was more my insecurity than anything. By the time I finally walked over to my neighbor's place, my social battery was basically dead. Still, I knew if I went back home, I'd probably never do it. So I forced myself and walked up his driveway. I was expecting someone middle-aged to answer the door, like everyone else. Instead, a young guy with a mullet opened it. That alone threw me off. He honestly looked younger than me. I recovered pretty quickly and started my whole, just moved in next door introduction. Before I could even finish, he cut me off with this huge grin and said something like, "Wow, someone born in the same decade as me. That's rare around here." I laughed and told him how out of place I felt being single surrounded by families. He brushed it off and said most people here keep to themselves anyway, which was actually reassuring. He introduced himself as Damon and told me I should come by sometime for a drink. I joked and said, "Why not right now?" I expected him to laugh and invite me in, but instead he glanced over his shoulder into the house, then back at me. He said he wished he could, but he was busy working. I asked what he did, just making conversation, and his smile faded a little. After a strange pause, he laughed and said, "Finance," without explaining anything else. It felt off. I didn't push it. I asked if he had roommates, and he casually said he lived alone. That blew my mind considering how big the house was. We talked a few more minutes, he gave me his number, and then he went back inside. I was honestly excited that someone my age lived next door, especially someone who seemed cool. But I couldn't stop thinking about how weird it was for one guy to live alone in a house that size. I mean, my place wasn't even half that big. That was about 6 months ago. For the next few weeks, nothing really happened. I texted Damon a few times trying to hang out, but he always said he was busy and apologized. Eventually, I stopped trying. Not out of anger, just figured he wasn't interested. What really started bothering me was that I never saw anyone come or go from his house. No friends, no parties, no deliveries. His car was always there, but I never saw him leave. I work from home, and my office is on the 3rd floor, which overlooks his property. So yeah, I noticed things. Sounds creepy, but his house was literally right in my line of sight. Then one Wednesday night, around 2 a.m., I woke up to loud music. My windows were open, so it jolted me awake. First, I thought I was dreaming, but when I looked outside, I saw 7 or 8 cars lined up in Damon's driveway. He was throwing a party. I don't usually complain about noise, but it was the middle of the week and insanely loud. I figured I'd just go over and ask him to turn it down. I threw on a hoodie and walked over. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, harder. Still nothing. I grabbed the door handle, expecting it to be locked. It wasn't. The door swung open. Inside, there was a pile of shoes, at least 10 pairs. But the house was empty. No people. No drinks. Nothing. I could still hear people laughing and talking, but when I focused, I realized it wasn't music. It was a recording. Fake party. That made no sense. The cars. The shoes. Someone had to be there. I moved through the house and noticed a door slightly open leading to the basement. I don't know why, but I knew whatever was happening was down there. It was dark, except for a faint light deeper inside. As I got closer, I heard another sound. Mechanical, heavy, rhythmic. I peeked through the crack and saw 3 older men wearing work clothes, gloves, and goggles, staring at something I couldn't see. The smell of bleach hit me, and my stomach dropped. I turned to leave. Then the light behind me shut off. I ran. I sprinted home, jumped my fence, locked my door, and hid upstairs with the lights off. Minutes later, I saw a group of older men rush outside Damon's house, scanning the street. Damon wasn't with them. After that night, Damon disappeared. His car was gone. No one heard the party. His packages piled up. And now I'm left wondering if I saw something I was never supposed to see.